This is the 2022 Volkswagen Teramont, also called the Atlas in the North American markets. Well, it's the first ever 7-seater Volkswagen, which is basically the largest model in the Volkswagen portfolio. So compared to the previous Teramont, you get this completely new front grille, which has the R badge right here, as it is the R line trim, more of which I'll speak about later. You get the new Volkswagen logo on this Teramont, which was one of the first cars to debut in the Middle East with the new Volkswagen logo. You also have the full LED headlamps, which use Volkswagen's IQ Light technology, which are basically full LED matrix headlamps. And as for the engines, you have two options available, which is the 2-liter TSI that produces 220 horsepower, and you have the 3.6-liter FSI V6, which produces 280 horsepower. Coming to the side profile, we get these 21-inch alloy wheels on the top of the line Highline variant, which do look pretty aggressive and sporty. You have the R badge right here. So what the R badge basically means is that this car has the R line package, and what that does is that it does add some cosmetic improvements to the car's exterior to give it a much more sportier look. Basically, R is like the sport version of Volkswagen, and R line is more like, you know, the BMW's M Sport or your Hyundai's N line. So it doesn't really give you the performance upgrades, but it gives you the cosmetic looks on the exterior to give it a sporty feel. So we have our power folding mirrors, which do have LED indicators. You also have the cameras over here on the mirrors, which aid for the 360-degree parking system. You have chrome basically everywhere on the car. You have chrome going over here on the top, you have chrome here on the bottom, on the door sills. You have keyless entry and go, which comes pretty much standard on every cars nowadays. It does have that. You have blacked out B pillars right there, and yeah, that's pretty much it for the side profile. Now at the rear, we get the full LED taillight clusters, and they have the same IQ Light technology of Volkswagen. You do get this chrome lining that goes all the way about, and you have the Teramont written here in spaced letters on the chrome slat. You have exhaust below. Well, these aren't really exhaust, they're just for the looks. The real ones are actually below. A typical thing you see on Audis and Volkswagens these days. You have the 4Motion badge right here, which says that it has a 4-wheel drive technology. It's not really a 4-wheel drive technology that you can use to take this car dune bashing, but it takes you for all of your weekend getaways, like going to the beach or just, you know, going for small off-road spots. It's perfectly fine for that. Now, quite a gimmick really. If you have groceries in your hand and you needed to open the tailgate, you know, you're filled completely with groceries, you can't really put your hand there to open the tailgate. So it has an electric tailgate, by the way. And what you do is that you just bring your foot beneath the rear bumper, and there you go, the tailgate opens for you. How cool is that? You have 583 liters of boot space on the Volkswagen Teramont, which is actually quite spacious. It's really huge. Also, the second row seats can be folded in a 60-40 split, allowing you to increase that boot space even further. So it is quite practical here in the back. Now, accessing the third row seats is actually quite simple. So all you gotta do is really just pull this lever behind, fold this front, you can slide the entire thing forward, and then just make your way into the cabin. And then you just pull the seat backwards like that. So right now I'm seated in the third row seats of the Volkswagen Teramont, and I have to say I'm quite impressed. Now, starting with the basics, well, the legroom is actually quite fine. If you want to increase this legroom, you can just push this second row seat forward, and the second row is quite spacious. So even if I push the seat forward, the passenger in front of me should be comfortable enough. You also have enough amount of headroom, and these headrests are adjustable, so it does give you a good amount of support. Extra convenience features, for example, like cup holders right here and compartments to store things. You also have AC vents on both the sides for both the passengers, and the greenhouse area, as you can see, is quite big enough, so it does give me a good amount of view of the outside world. So I'm not really claustrophobic in here. Coming to the second row seats, they are actually very spacious. I have enough amount of legroom, actually infinity of legroom and knee room. I do have enough amount of headroom as well. The greenhouse area is quite large in the second row as well, and if the sunlight outside is bothering you, you can just push up this window blinds which sit there and block the sunlight. Take it out of there as well and keep it there. You have large bottle holders here on the door cards. You can store bottles and everything. You have seat pockets behind the front seats, and you also do have a foldable armrest where you can keep your hand, and also has 2 cup holders as well. And seats are again perforated leather seats, and they do have heating only for the rear seats, and they do have both heating and ventilating on the front seats. And all those controls can be done using these buttons over here. So this is your controls for the rear climate control. So you have individual climate control adjustments for the rear passengers. Below the AC vents, you do have a 12-volt charging socket and 2 USB-C ports. Now the interiors are refreshed as well, and it's very well laid out. You have physical buttons for everything, which is quite a big deal, because modern Volkswagens like the ID4 and the Golf have these capacitive touch buttons for the AC controls and your infotainment. So this is probably going to be one of the last modern Volkswagens to have this system. So both the driver and the passenger get power adjustable seats, and you can adjust them by just moving these levers right here. And you also do have a memory function as well, so you can set up to 3 different driver configurations for this particular seat. And the seat actually does have good amount of support as well, so you do have your very good headrest, and you have enough amount of leg room and all that as well. So on the top we do have our sunblinds on both the sides, so you can open them as well. They do have a light over here, and you have a mirror as well. You have your auto dimming rear view mirrors over here, and you also have a panoramic sunroof which can be opened by just clicking this button right here. So it opens the sunroof in a full fold. We also get a leather wrapped steering wheel with the Volkswagen Teramont. They do have perforations as well, and does feel quite nice to hold. You have your R-Line badge right here, and you also get the new Volkswagen logo on steering wheel, which is one of the highlights of this new model. So on the left side of our steering wheel, we get our cruise control buttons right here, and click this button right here. It shows you the assist systems available on this car, which is the side assist, the rear traffic alert, and also your front assist. And the rest of the buttons are basically for your cruise control. On the right hand side of the steering wheel, we have our view button, which changes the different views of the instrument cluster. So you have 3 different views available, and using this button you can activate the voice assistant or Siri. You can use these 2 buttons to shift between the different tracks, and you also have your volume controls over here as well. So in the center we have the 8-inch touchscreen infotainment system, which comes with both Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, as well as Bluetooth connectivity. And this system also does have a gesture control, so you can go between different menu pages and basically do stuff like that with the gesture control. You do have your radio as well, and this feeds audio to a 12 speaker Fender sound system, which does sound pretty amazing. You have off-road pages as well, since you have 4Motion with this Volkswagen Teramont, and shows you essential data like your steering angle, as well as your compass and your pitch and roll. And when you power off the system, you have your clock displayed right there, which has 4 different styles, as you can see. So you can leave it on anyone you like. And then let's come to the climate controls. Below the touchscreen you have your climate controls. So you have a dual zone automatic climate control with the Volkswagen Teramont. You do have your temperature displayed in this digital displays right here. You also do have heated and ventilated seats on the Volkswagen Teramont. Then you can adjust your different AC modes by clicking this button. You can switch on the air circulation by clicking this button. You also do have auto AC mode, which selects the AC speed depending on the temperature outside. Then you also do have your front and rear defoggers, and the individual temperature adjustments for both the driver and the passenger. Coming below that, we have our hazard button right here, and as you can see, it glows the entire hazard switch, which looks pretty cool. And also for the connectivity side of things, you get 2 USB-C ports and a 12-volt charging socket. And you also have your Qi wireless charging pad right here, where you can lay down your phone and it'll start charging. And in the center we have our gear lever right here, which is wrapped in leather. You have your park, reverse, neutral, drive, and sequential shift. You have your engine start stop button right here, and your automatic parking brake. So just activate that right there. We have our 4 different off-road drive modes, which is part of the 4Motion system, and you also have the 4 different driving modes as well. So as I change these modes, it keeps changing between the different available off-road modes. And as I click on this mode switch right here, it also takes you between the different driving modes that are available in the Teramont. And here we have a button right here which shows a camera and a P symbol. So that's basically a 360-degree parking camera, which is again a very cool feature on this car. So when you click that button right here, so in the reverse parking camera we have the 3D camera right here. So as you can see, it shows you the different views of the car from different angles. You have the front facing angle as well, and you can twist around the car to show you the different views. And this is actually quite accurate for the system that we have here, and it does work pretty well, and it's even very useful when you're parking the car in a parking. And we also have 2 cup holders which have these spring triggers in them to secure your drink safely. And these are the keys which you get with the Volkswagen Teramont. So they have the Volkswagen, so you have the Volkswagen logo right here, and you have your lock, unlock, and your boot release switch. So when you click this, the boot opens automatically. So now let's discover the central console. So you just open this right here, and as you can see, there's a massive amount of space in there. It's basically just a very huge spot to keep whatever things you need. You have your third USB-C port right here, and 2 of them in the rear central console, and 2 of them in the front right there. So you have a total of 5 USB-C ports in this car. Then coming to the glove box, open the glove box like this, and as you can see, the glove box is also quite huge. So in this car, every compartment is like huge. You can keep ample amount of stuff in there. And so these are the door cards on the Volkswagen Teramont. So you do have your mirror adjustment controls right here, your front and rear window controls, and also the button to disable the rear windows. And one thing that I found as an ergonomic flaw of this car is that if you see this spot right here where you see a hole, now normally on cars you would have a small base that basically protects things from falling down, but if you look into it, it's just a straight hole that goes throughout the handle. So it's a really good place to hold your handle and close the door shut. But again, you know, when you can't keep small phones or coins or anything in here because it'll just fall from below. You do have huge bottle holders, like large chunky spots to store pretty much anything. Then here on the side we have our headlight controls. So you right now it's set in the 0 position. You have your automatic headlamps, which basically switches on your headlamps. You have the dimmed headlight setup, and you have your regular headlights. You have your lock and unlock buttons. So you have central locking available in this car. And the door cards also do look pretty cool. So you have this kind of carbon fiber trim that goes on the door cards, as well as you get the same trim on the dashboard as well, and it does look pretty neat. You also have this small tray above where you can store your phones or more stuff there on the top. So if you enjoyed this video, please hit that subscribe button and also comment down below which car you would like me to review next. Once again, stay safe, have a great day, and goodbye.